إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، عباد الله، فإن خير الكلام كلام الله، وخير الهدي هدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. All praise due to Allah, His praise and blessings and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, his companions, and his followers until the day of judgment. I bear witness that Allah is the only one worthy of worship, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his last and final messenger. My dear brothers and sisters, 19 years ago, exactly the same day today, 9/11, there were a cowardly attack on civilians in the United States. Comes in was a very shock and surprise to the society and to the world, where civilian airplanes were hijacked and used as weapon to crash against the Pentagon, a military site, and where it is basically filled with civilians as well, and also in the trade world centers, and one crash in Pennsylvania, which resulted of one of the largest casualties on the American soil and land for a very, very long time, where over 2,500 to almost 2,900 people died on that day. And a lot of generations today, a lot of young people today don't even know what's 9/11. It becomes part of the history. But a lot of also our community member remember what it was 19 years ago when this took place, and how that resulted in a series of this unjust attack, unfair attack, that terrorist attack that took place at that day, have resulted also in so many injustice afterwards, nationally and internationally, have resulted to series of reactions from our government, from the world, that we still until today we are suffering from it. So 19 years after this incident, what should we learn? What we should have learned as a society and as a community? And I would like only to mention the point that I believe it's very much related to us today. Even though if you hear me and you never witnessed 9/11, I can tell you, even if a young man or young woman listen to me today, and your children, our children, I'll guarantee you that they are impacted by that incident today in so many forms, in so many ways, because it really had a deep scar in the American history and people and society, and even in our politics and our society at large. First of all, as we remember that incident, we always should know that terrorism have no place in society, and have no place in our community, and have no place in our religion, first and foremost. There is nothing in our religion will justify killing and targeting civilian peoples. No matter how bad this society is, no matter how corrupt this society is, no matter how unjust and unfair that society is, it does not justify for us to go to the level of the others that we disagree with them. And that's only can be taken in a fair legal war, where basically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala many places in the Quran said, and when people fight you, you fight them back. and the fight and the rules of it, there is something well established, well defined in the books of fiqh. It's not left to individuals to declare wars against countries and against society. Never happened in history that ever this was left to individuals in our religion, or historically speaking after our religion. That it's something left to the individual. That's a mess. As a matter of fact, if you notice, even the concept of al-jihad as a concept was only legislated in Islam after the state was exist, which is in Medina. That's why there was no jihad in Mecca. There is no state, because in Islam we recognize, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recognize clearly the importance of having a civilian power controlling that military power. Because if it was to be left to people to declare war and peace and target people and put mark on people and declare who deserve to be assassinated or not, that will create what we call a corruptions on earth. Fasad fil ard. That will create a mess. That will create a chaos. And al-jihad never meant to be a chaos or lead to chaos. Lead to bring people in order, to protect the rights. And we have seen in 9/11 a clear example. That's something we should always remember. A clear example of the fall, or the fallacy, or the wrong justification that people have in their mind for such terrorist action. They said, oh, we want a revenge for our Palestinian brothers. First of all, what's the Palestinian brothers and sisters will benefit from killing, engineers and doctors and people in airplanes traveling from one place to another? You're just doing the same injustice that's happening to our Palestinian brothers to another people. And the second big question, that it is something that this so-called jihadi terrorist group around the world, they hate to face this reality. They hate it whenever we raise this question against them. When we tell them, whatever you guys doing, did it ever bring any good to anyone? Or it brought more injustice, or created more mess, or created more evil in the world? Give me one of these terrorist actions that took place around the world ever have made or created or led to something good in the world. Created to the killing of so many innocent people afterwards. An injustice to continue. And for the gap to be bigger and bigger and bigger between people, between nations and communities and people from different faiths. 9/11, it should not all ever be forgotten. That if anyone ever tried to justify their actions and their basically anger in such manners, that this does not result in any good. Also, 9/11, something that we always should keep in our eyes, or we keep our eyes on, because in 9/11 there is things a lot to learn from. And I'm not going into the area of the importance of a good communication between government branches. That's not something everybody in the community necessarily, directly benefit from it. But what I just want to know, to us to remember, that there were a rhetoric at that time that we cannot allow to happen again, which is us versus them. If you're not with us, you're against us. And that's how people rallied up to agreeing to a war that was based on a lie. And I'm not still stuck on the Gulf War and and all the debate that took our. But now everybody realized that it was a lie, and American people were lied at, and the whole world were lied at. And we should not allow this to happen again. And we should, as a society, make sure that we don't allow someone to drag us and to cause the death of hundreds of thousands of people and millions of people. Unchecked like that, just because of that rhetoric. If you're not with us, you're against us. That was the language that was used. 9/11 should always keep us on eyes on something else important for us in society, which is That choice that was made for us to make between security or freedom, which is not two things I have to choose between. I should have my security and I should have my freedom. I should not lose both. I should not be ever put as an individual or society at large, individual at large, or a society or community to be asked to choose between one of the two. Otherwise, what makes America different than any dictatorship exists in the world? What will make us community exist? And this has happened every day, where people lose their rights just because of the, that fear that's been put out because of the national security. Also, this incident should us always ask ourselves, was it justice or revenge? Justice is one thing, but revenge is a completely different thing. Was it justice or... Because one of the things that I can tell you that I noticed in most of the posts and the communication that, or the posts that these jihadi groups put online, you can tell it's nothing about justice. It's mainly about revenge and anger. It's not really about justice. It's about revenge. And in Islam, we don't have that. What motivates us is not a personal revenge. And in society, we should not allow that to what lead us, because that destroy us. In 9/11, we saw how right after 9/11, the unity between the Americans was so great, so strong. But quickly this disappeared. And a division became bigger and bigger and bigger. And Muslim community were ready to be the scapegoat and to be looked at with suspicion. And that the lesson we should learn, that at that time and that moment, brothers and sisters, the people who were looking at Muslim community with an eye of suspicion, they did not differentiate between Arabs and South Asian or Indian or Indonesians or black or white. Even if you are a Caucasian and you're Muslim, a question mark will be raised. If that teaches us anything, that we are all in this together. So we should not let anything divide us, any ethnicity or anything of which is divide people, to divide us as a community. At 9/11, teach us that we are a community that is not known. Oh my God, after 9/11, people don't know anything about Muslim Americans. Even security agencies. And I believe that there is a level of ignorance was unbelievable. And that's why we were very receptive for so many accusations, because nobody knows who you are. And after 9/11, our community took a good steps towards coming out, identifying themselves. We tried to seize the moment during 9/11, but we did not do I would wish that it happened better, but I think we are much better now. To seize that moment to identify who we are, not who we are not. We should talk about who we are, what we believe in. We should not let anyone to put us in a frame that all our talk is about we're not. All we talk, we're not terrorists, we're not extreme. You should not be afraid of me. You should not be afraid of me. That's very bad way to identify yourself. That means there's a question mark about you. Rather, you should be able to identify who you are and what you stand for and what you believe in. And we should not ever let the media or anyone in society take us to that direction. After 9/11, terrorism, and you see how the community demonstrated, our community and other community across the country. And society at large demonstrated a great level of standing for one another, helping one another, defending one another. I still in 9/11, we had brothers and sisters who their neighbors, Christian, Jews, atheists, you name it, came and said, hey, we're there to help you. I can go grocery for you if you're scared to go out. I will walk with your daughter to school. And I know personally incident with all these examples. There's so much good in society, and we should capitalize on that. Our community never were a threat. They were always an asset. Another lesson that I want to end with, when it comes to reflecting upon what 9/11, when it came, that a lot of security agencies in America use a very harsh hammer, use that hammer to hammer the community. A lot of cases, there's a lot of question marks around it. They were and thirst just to catch people and wrapping them up. And even they themselves agreed. Their political rhetoric at that time have basically pushed people, and pushed security agencies and politicians to put a lot of pressure on the Muslim community. And guess what? Many of the people that I met and conferences I attended, they admit that was not the best strategy. It didn't help. Didn't produce any results. Actually, the opposite. Our Muslim community do not have a problem with a young man who is misled or in the verge or committed a crime or broke the law to be punished for his crime. We don't have a problem with that. But what we want to see also us as a society that include the government, is to look at those people as misguided people, try to help them, not just to convict them. And America is not good at that, unfortunately. And if you want the best example, it's the African American community. Any African American community member you asked him, he said, I don't have a problem with, prosecuting criminals. But what I have problem with is that when we are looking to make people criminals, and we're just looking for any reason to put them behind bars for years, so we make them real criminals after that, and destroying their life and their future. And that was a battle that I know many people, many meetings, including meetings that I was in it myself, pushing back with the government on this issue. I remember, saying to so many officials, guys, Egypt jail did not produce any good results. It produced more violence in the 80s. Guys, study what happened in Muslim countries when they start wrapping people up and put them in jail. We didn't get any good out results. The stupidity in some Muslim countries that they're doing the same thing these days, what they done before. But we are here smarter than that. So one of the things that we make sure, I'm saying this because also these are issues that we keep an eye on when we elect our next leaders, our next policy makers. This is something that is of concern to us. Because I'll tell you, the bad news is terrorism never ends. And it's reality. You all heard the news just 3 days ago or early this week. In University of Houston, a kid goes into the Zoom meeting and threat of blowing up a bomb because he pledged himself to ISIS. So, got arrested. 19 years old kid. And the shameless Houston Chronicle article starts by saying, a man, 19 years old man. Yeah, if that was a white kid, he will not be a 19-year-old white man. But because he's a Muslim, 19 years man. It's just unbelievable way of provoking. But anyway, good news is we'll reach out to Houston Chronicle about that. And to give them the credit, the next article that they wrote, they changed that. They put a teenager. That's a little bit much better language to use. Because it's not about provoke. I don't know what the kid is, what he's serious, is not serious, just a stupid joke, or he's serious about what he is. This is something the authority should deal with. But my point is, this not going, it still exists, it will be there. And we should know how to deal with it when it happens. We should make sure that our children are educated, our community is educated, and we have no space and we have no hesitance to stand all together with law enforcement against anyone who will be a threat to our society and our community at large. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أن يحفظنا وإياكم بحفظه. يقول ما سمعتم واستغفر الله لي ولكم استغفر. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وبعد. If I go a little bit deeper in history than 11 years ago, take you 1931. 1931, North Africa, 9/11 is the day where a great hero was arrested after 20 years of fighting, 20 years of jihad fi sabilillah, 20 years of fighting the occupation. His land was occupied by a foreign power, and he kept fighting. And guess what? He started fighting in the age of 52. And he fought for 20 years, if it's not more. Battle after another. And I'm saying this because if you are in your 50s, listen to what this man did. He was hanged to death when he was 73 years old. His blood spilled on the pure sands and land of Libya. Umar al-Mukhtar, rahimahullah ta'ala. He was arrested in September 11. He was executed in the 19th. They tried to tell him to go to Hajj, they are going to arrest you, they are putting a lot of, I said, no. And he has something, every coward in the world should listen to what he said. He said, نحن لا نستسلم ننتصر أو نموت. We never give up. Either we win or we die. Anybody who knows who arrested him, who betrayed him? No. Those cowards, those perpetrators, those unjust people, forgotten, will be going straight to the dumpster of history, of the history. But him, no, his name will always remain. His lawyer said it when he tried to negotiate and he found everything. He said, you know that this man is on truth. Anyway, rahimahullah ta'ala, I thought also it is important, as we remember an important incident like 9/11 and that attack, we should also remember that there is also many things happen in the same days, but maybe in different times, different places in the world. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us and to bless our family and to protect us and to protect our society and the world from all type of evil. Ya Rab, we ask you to have your mercy upon us. An attack by a group of people result of the death of almost 3,000 people, but the negligence of a leader can cause also tens of thousands of death. And it can go unchecked. But we make sure in November that it is checked. We make sure that this is something our society, anyone who betrayed the trust that had been given to him to the office to protect us, to treat us with dignity, doesn't deserve my vote. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to always choose to lead us the best among us, to make them merciful and just and fair to us and to the world. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our family, our wealth, our health, and to protect our society from all kind of evil. Ya Allah, we ask you to bring peace and dignity and unity to the land of Libya, and to unify them upon the truth, and to end that civil war there and in Yemen and many places in the world, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Ya Allah, we ask you, Ya Dhal Jalal wal Ikram, to forgive us, to forgive our parents, the living and the dead among us, min al-mu'mineen wal-mu'minat, among the believing men and women. اللهم اغفر لآبائنا وأمهاتنا وأزواجنا وذرياتنا اللهم قنا وإياهم شر الفتن اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى أن تؤتي نفسنا تقواها وتزكيها أنت غير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد أكثر من الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله فإنه أمر بذلك صلى الله عليه وسلم بالإكثار من الصلاة عليه في يوم الجمعة فقال أكثروا فيه من الصلاة علي وأمرنا الله بذلك فقال إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم اللهم آمين. Just because we still have also people online, I just do the announcement before we pray. For next Friday, for those who made reservation for Jumu'ah, please have your reservation out when you arrive to show the officer. This will help keep the line and the wait time much shorter. Please remember to donate to the masjid. You can donate online or the website, themasjid.org. Tonight, inshallah ta'ala, at 7 p.m., we'll have our class of minimalism, Zuhd, and also youthful knowledge with Shaykh Kamal al-Makki tomorrow, Saturday, at 7 p.m. Sister Rana at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Voting reminder for all voters who are 65 or older or going to be out of town. The elections, handicaps, sick, please apply before mail-in ballots now. You can get the applications from your county clerk websites. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.